evening and good evening. Welcome to another episode of Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I am your host, Dr. Michelle Bowling Hammond. And listen, today we're going to be discussing about something we all do, whether we want to admit it or not. But, letting our emotions make decisions for us. Not just in the moment decisions, but in the moment decisions that can make life altering moves, and it can cost us relationships, it can cost us business moves, boundaries, and also being silent. Now, remember, this is an end cap of my new book that came out last week, Energy Leaks Identified. And we all know that emotions is what brings us and carry us through some things, but it's how we strategize in it, correct? So today we're going to unpack the good, the bad, and the ugly. I feel like I got Clint Eastwood in the back of my head right now of the emotional decisions and the details of making, and how tonight we're going to reclaim the power without suppressing our feelings. So, as we go with Dr. Elm, remember last week I started off with sharing with people that I have a Dr. Elm counter ego, alter ego, a person of me. But I want you just to take a moment, because I want you to ground, because in this season, I think, we got to call it out. And once I get my video ready for my newest song called Call It Out, because we got to call these things out. So tonight, again, the good, the bad, and the ugly of this emotions, and somehow how we let our emotions make our actions for us. So stay tuned. You will be moved on to the next Dr. Elm.
Welcome to Dr. M Healing Zone. Today I want you to experience a pause moment. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it gently at the top. And exhale slowly through your mouth. Again, inhale peace, exhale tension. Allow your body to settle right where you are. No fixing, no forcing, just being. Bring your attention to the top of your head. Imagine a soft light resting there. Warm, calm, protective. As you breathe, allow that light to gently move downward, relaxing your forehead, your eyes, your jaw. Let your shoulders drop. Release what you've been carrying. You don't have to hold it all right now. With each breath, feel your chest soften, your heart opening, not to effort, but to ease. Place one hand over your heart if that feels comfortable. Feel the rhythm of your breath. This moment is safe. Silently repeat after me. I am present. I am grounded. I am supported. I am enough. And as you exhale, release anything that no longer serves your mind. When you're ready, slowly wiggle your fingers and toes. Gently open your eyes. Carry this calm with you. Return to it whenever you need. Thank you for joining the Dr. M Healing Zone weekly segment.
Well, welcome back to the real Dr. Elm. So again, that was the alter ego of myself, Dr. Elm, just bringing you and getting you to the swig of getting grounded and getting this information. Because again, I give information that is life-changing. Again, we're about the mind, we're about the body, and we're about the soul. So again, the key points I want to make about is that, one, emotions are data, not the facts. We need to know them, and it's good that we have them. Now, intuition It often speaks through emotion. And what can emotions do, and how can we know that it be identified as an emotion? So one, what does emotion regulate? It alerts us of danger. It signals misalignment. It reveals an unmet need, and it protects our boundaries. So remember those. Alert us to danger, signal misalignment, and reveal unmet needs, whether it's something we're dealing with and we want to lash it out, or it protects our boundaries. So here's a way that you can figure out the examples of what can happen or what you may be feeling. So these are some questions that you can ask yourself is, again, where is my energy leak? Where is it going to be identified? Identified through the emotion. So some examples may be when it's an emotional thing is that feeling that you get, that uneasy feeling before saying yes or maybe no. Joy that confirms that it's alignment. That's how you know. And anger that shows where a boundary was crossed. So here's a teaching moment. Emotions are meant to be felt, not followed blindly. Woo. Ooh, let me say that one again. This is a teaching moment. Emotions are not meant to be felt. They are meant to be felt, but not followed blindly. They're the smoke, not always fire. Somebody better write that in the chat. Matter of fact, whoever writes that in my chat, first person to write that in my chat will get my energy book. Identity leak, identify, energy leak, right? So here's a question I'm gonna have for you viewers tonight. When was the last time an emotion actually protected you? And what emotion do you tend to trust the most? So again, here for these segments, I'm going to be doing some reflecting prompts. So I need to start announcing that before the show comes on, that you might need some pen and paper for these prompts, because I actually want you, or you can go back and look at the recording. Right. So when was the last time that an emotion actually protected you? And what did the emotion do, and that you mostly tend to trust the most? All right, that is that question. So we're going to take another quick break because I want to show something that we have coming up. Me and a friend of mine, Sherry Stein, I'm going to give you this quick review so you can go back with that. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break and I'm going to show you that.
We are hoping you join us.
Let it resonate, let it heal your soul.
Welcome back to the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. Right there, you will see that in Eventually Divine, we will be on February the 28th, the end of this month. Me and my co-author, Sherry Stein, we are putting on a Resonate Healing Voices book tour number 2. We will be in Savage, Maryland from 1 to 2:30 at Eventually Divine and Savage Mill. All right, so going back to emotions, those questions, prompts that I asked. So the key points here are when we're talking about emotions, the decision-making process, right? When we're making decisions made in heightened emotion, and it can come from 4 different areas. So when some of the decisions that we make, we got to always remember that there's 4 areas that these emotion may be feeling or you may be coming from. And the results could be from fear, abandonment of wounds, ego, and survival mode. Those are where they can come from. Again, let me repeat these again. It can come from fear, abandonment wounds, ego, and a survival mood. So, emotional decisions can lead to you, and this is what can happen, saying things that you can't take back, burning bridges permanently, overgiving and self-betrayal, and making the promises that you resent later. Let me repeat those again, because this is going to help somebody. Saying things that you can't take back, or doing things that you can't take back, burning bridges permanently, overgiving or self-betrayal, and making promises that you resent later. And let me say that. Again, I'm pointing these back to me, and I'm always transparent. I have done this in my past, and if you say you haven't, you're lying. So I have to put that out there to you. But just want you to regulate and know that. So again, so common tracks to this is that, resentment, responding instead of pausing. That's why I brought Dr. M, my alter ego, in tonight, that you can see that it's a regulate to pause. I want you to actually get in tune to what you're hearing and what you're listening to tonight. All right. Confusing urgency with importance. Because again, you're not clearly thinking straight. So again, I talked about that last week as well. Your energy identified. Pause, break, and relieve. Pause, break, and relieve. And making permanent decisions in a temporary emotion. Because guess what? You have to deal with that after fact, what you did or what you've done. And this is real talk. Just because it feels intense doesn't mean it's true. Here is another reflection questions to ask for yourself tonight. What decisions in your life were made from fear instead of clarity? Let me read that again. What decisions in your life were made from fear instead of clarity? Think on that one. Second question. What did it cost you? What did it cost you? So that's a reflection of that, right? Again, we're talking about energy leak identified, the emotion, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Everything that we don't want to hear most of the times, but sometimes it's significant for us, enough for us to know that and get that understanding. So this is what this is all about here tonight. All right. Again, the ugly. Now that was the bad. Now earlier I talked about the good. We just discussed the bad. Now I'm going to give you the ugly. What is the ugly of this emotional, the good, the bad, the ugly? Emotional hijacking compared with the energy leak. All right. Emotional hijacking. And why does this happen? Emotional hijacking happens when the old wounds, remember just a few minutes ago, I just talked about wounds. The old wounds speak louder than the present facts. Something you done dug deep down, something you ain't healed in the process, something has not did what it needed to do, and you still festering on and it done grown. So remember, your cells do hear you, and that stuff comes out and releases in a negative way. Trauma responses masquerade as intuition. Trauma responses masquerade as intuition. And guess what? You may feel like you're on the ego, right? But when you react from pain, you're powerless. That's the true efforts from it. When you react from pain, it has no power. Now, here's the ugly truth. My grandmama always said, tell the truth, shame the devil. So the ugly truth to this is emotional decisions making can do what? Create cycles of chaos, keep you stuck in some of these relationships, drain your energy, your creativity, and your peace, and reinforce narratives like this is always happening to me. So here's some work to put behind that. This is where the energy leak shows up, when emotions run systems instead of being processed. So I am going to share about the energy leak. Here we go. There it is. If you want to heal from what you're hearing tonight, you can tune into this book. There's journal prompts. That's my new latest book. It is on Amazon. Yes. Or you can reach me to get a copy. It's a very good book. Very good book. And there it is, Energy Leak Identified, a holistic guide to awareness. Because again, we have to check that awareness and that emotion. The only way we can know that we can check it, only way that we know that it can bring into where it needs to be is because we have to subject that thing and bring it out, call it out. As I said earlier, call it out, bring the awareness to it. And if you want sustainable self-care, right, that's how you do it. You have to identify the energy leak. So the next question I have for you, what emotion keeps replaying the same lesson in your life? Because again, it's a lesson learned, lesson earned if you haven't got this in check with pausing, breathing, and releasing before you act on emotions. And I'm not saying that you don't have days like that, or you may have something like that, but actually this is our way you need to identify. All right, so the question is, what emotion keeps replaying the same lesson in your life? If you keep dealing with this, then there's something you ain't dealt with, right? Next question, what would change if you paused instead of reacting? Ooh. I gotta say that one again. What would change if you paused instead of reacted? All right. That's the question. That's what we can do. So I'm going to take a quick break again. And I am going to show you something that I want you to be looking at while we take a quick break, just for 1 minute.
When I need calm from my anger, I listen to 528 Hertz.
Welcome back to the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. Again, it's all about pause, breathe, and release. We're talking about tonight, again, to recap before we get ready to end tonight. We're talking about the good, the bad, the ugly of emotions, and how sometimes our emotions can actually flare up. There are emotions are to alert us, but it's how you obtain and how you do and release what you do with that emotion. So, right there, I've given you some information as a sound practitioner. I know and learned about different frequencies. As this frequency that just came out, 528 hertz, just think about it the next time that you feel like you're getting angry. Throw on 528 hertz, pause, breathe, and then release before you make the decision on what you want to do. Okay? So that is a tip, because next I'm going to give you some tips on what you can do when it's a point about making a decision, whether it can be good, bad, but we want you to learn how to motivate and integrate these in decision-making processes, okay? So again, I always talk about the word pause. When you pause and you're actually stopping to think, to get you in a clear space, right? So pausing the nervous system, right? These are some practical tips that you can do to pause the nervous system. That's one of the steps to the emotion. Pause the nervous system, breathe, walk, drink water. No decision and dysregulation. No decision and dysregulation. Number 2, name the emotion. Call it out. I feel rejected. I'm feeling scared. Or I'm feeling unseen. Right? Name the emotion. Call it out. Call it out. I wish I could have got my video out today, but next week, promise. Ask, is this old or new? Ask, is this emotion that I'm feeling? Is it about now or then? Is it about now or then? Delay big decisions. Sleep on it. Now, I want somebody to guess how many hours that they said, this is scientifically what it says, that you should sleep on it before you make that decision. Because I know some people just act on stuff, right? But guess how many hours that it says that you should sleep on before you make that decision? At least 3 days. At least 3 days. 72 hours before you make that decision. And then decide if it's an alignment, not to reaction. Decide from alignment, not reaction. Does this decision, is it going to bring me peace after your emotion settles? It should bring you peace. Guarantee you, when you make that dysregulated emotion, you sleep, you have some emotions, you don't rest settle because it wasn't done in peace. Okay? So these are just some things. These are some pointers that I'm giving out tonight for you to second chance your emotion. All right? Now, last and final, before we get ready to end this show, we have 6 minutes to go. 6 minutes. I have some questions for you. Again, journal prompts. Journal prompts. Here we go. Here are the questions. What emotion makes most of your decision right now? I want you to think on something that you probably had to think about this week. What would change if you let the emotion inform, not control you? What would change if you let the emotions inform, but not control you? And what decisions are you going to be asked to revisit with clarity? Again, I'm going to reflect on these again. What emotion makes most of your decisions right now? What would you change if you let the emotions inform but not control you? And what decisions are being asked to revisit? What are you being asked to revisit with clarity? Now, as you know, I don't do sound. I'm all about affirmations. Now I want you to repeat after me. I honor my emotions without letting them rule my destiny. I honor my emotions without letting them rule my destiny. Now, my call to action for those who are watching this tonight. If this segment has resonated with you tonight, pause today or tonight or even through your journey this week before reacting. That pause is the power. When you pause, that is the power. All right. So before we end this show, I just want to say thank you for all those who are tuning in tonight. Share this video and, always end out with an affirmation. That was an affirmation that we did. I honor my emotions without letting them rule my destiny. Well, we are almost to the closing in. And the closing in, my mantra is tonight is your emotions are wise, but you are the authority. Your emotions are wise, but you are the authority. But until next time, stay aligned, stay grounded, and always smell your positivity. Until next week, stay blessed, be fruitful in your decision and in your motions. Again, smell your positivity. I am Dr. Michelle Bolden Hammond here with the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. Have a great week.